Hello, everyone. My name is Mark. I'm here with my two friends and colleagues, Rob and Wes, over at LaunchEngine. And we're really excited to start today's session, which is an ongoing establishment with what we call Tuesdays with Monday. This is our effort here at Purple Plum to provide some really interesting and valuable tidbits and customized information that many of the world of Monday.com might not be aware of. As part of this session, and Rob, if I could ask you just to move to the next slide, please. What we're going to do is follow a very common process that we have in these meetings, in these sessions, where we're going to talk about some common use cases of a specific topic, actually go into the details of how it works, handle some live questions and answers, and always we end up with a bonus tip. Now, in today's session, we have something a little bit different than what we normally have in the past, and that is obviously why Rob and Wes are joining us today. Rob, if you could skip next to the next slide, please. What we're going to be talking about is something that is really high on the minds of many of the companies that we at Purple Plum serve, and that's integration with other solutions and other platforms. Today's talk is going to be focused on Buildium integration inside of Monday.com. And when we talk about integration, that can mean many, many different things to a different group of people. In today's talk, we're talking about a very deep integration inside of Buildium and Monday that will result in significant time being saved, but also a stronger single source of truth that companies rely on to ensure that their operations are being handled properly and that nothing falls through the cracks. And so with that, Rob, I'm going to turn the mic over to you and ask you to share a few points about Buildium, about the integration that you've put together, and also please educate us. Let us know how this all operates and the value it brings.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate the intro. And yeah, so we've integrated Buildium with Monday.com, and what we could say is an integration template that really looks at, putting together the best possible way to transfer your data over from Buildium into Monday.com so that we can get the benefits of the flexibility and the automation that we have over there. So real quick, let's just go over what Buildium is. So Buildium is one of the largest property management software tools in the industry, and it is used by property managers and landlords to set up their leasing and their accounting, manage their rent collection, as well as maintenance requests inside of Buildium. Another really important part of what's going on in Buildium is the resident and owner portals, where they're actually able to make payments and look at their incoming requests as well. So submitting requests for maintenance and stuff like that. Go to the next slide. Okay, so about our integration, we are syncing our Buildium data into Monday.com. We were doing that to get the additional flexibility there. Like I said, we are pulling over your properties, your units, your owners, your leases, all of those core boards that you use in Buildium, we're bringing over into Monday.com, and we are mirroring them into there. This is event-based syncing. So what that means is when a lease end date changes or when a new property is created in Buildium, it is pulling over into Monday. I won't say in real time, but very close to real time. It's event-based. And so that's nice because we can eliminate our data entry into Monday. You're not trying to manage two different databases there. We're giving Buildium the data authority, but that data is now in Monday so that we can automate further. So when we have this set up, one thing I like to kind of teach everybody is we are now thinking of Buildium as your accounting system, and we're thinking of Monday.com as the place that you do all of your work. You won't need to do workflows in Buildium.com, but we're going to use that as your accounting system still. That's going to be your system of record and where all of the money is still being exchanged between your company and the others. So let's talk real quick about why. Why do we need to do this? What's the benefit? Why Monday.com? And so the best thing that we've seen about Monday.com is that we're able to centralize all of your operations in your property management business into one place. there's a lot of other tools in the industry, and we've worked with a lot of them. And we stuck with Monday.com because it casts the widest net of flexibility and automation so that we can truly work in one centralized workspace to get all of our work done. And so we're able to eliminate a lot of tools in our software stack and that overhead that we need to pay. And we get and we're able to have all of our notes and everything we need in one place. Also, we are eliminating meetings. So our boards, our workflow boards, have a lot of automated statuses that are updating as work is being done. So we don't no longer need to meet with the team to check on updates and see statuses of different workflows and where a property is in its life cycle because the boards themselves self-report that information. Also, we're enhancing our owner and resident satisfaction. So we're setting up a lot of automated follow-ups and more importantly, repeatable processes that are going to allow us to ensure quality and consistency in the services that we're providing for our owners and tenants. And then the last part there is to follow our path to scale. So whether you're at 100 or 2,000 doors, these systems that we've set up in Monday.com are proven to scale with you over time and increase your operational efficiency and really turn down the metrics that you care about, like your direct labor efficiency ratios. All right. So here is the property management lifecycle and how we've defined that in Monday.com. As you can see over on the left-hand side, we have a lot of CRM functionality over here with incoming leads and getting your PMAs or your property management agreements signed with those owners and putting them through an onboarding process to get them into that property management lifecycle over here. So I show this to you to just educate you before we show you the workspace that this is exactly how we've structured our workspace in Monday.com. We've provided the bones and the scaffolding for this workspace so that you can set up the tasks that you need to do at each one of these steps, but still have the general structure that's going to allow you to automate and not have to reinvent the wheel, trying to do this on your own in your own project. We have the blueprint for you. All right. So now I'm going to switch over and show a quick demo of the workspace. And when you first download the Buildium integrated workspace, you're going to see that it's going to load all of your data from Buildium into Monday.com, and you'll get a nice, basic dashboard here showing some of the information that you may care about. And what I really want to focus on here is let's go over to the left-hand side, and you're going to see that your workspace is broken up into two folders here, your database boards and your workflow boards. So on that slide I showed you before about that property management lifecycle, those are your workflow boards right here. Okay, so we have a process, a board for every one of those processes that you need. And down here on the database boards, if we click in, you're going to see that your information is actually pulled right over from Buildium into Monday. For example, we have our leases here, and you can see all of that Buildium information is coming over, your start and end date, your days out, lease statuses, what type of lease it is, etc. As well as your tenant balances, which I'll cover a little more on the delinquencies process here in a minute. Also on the units board, you can see that we have a lot of that unit information that we want to bring over. So there's a lot of columns in here that are owned by Buildium. If that information lives in Buildium, then it's owned by Buildium in Monday and it's locked, but you're able to add additional information into it. So I'm going to click into this item here and show you a little bit about how we use our item cards in Monday. So as you can see, this unit here, 150 Main Street, has a lot of information in here about our utilities, our HOAs, other information about air conditioning, heating, and gas. So these are actually additional columns that we've added into this board that are populating through other workflows like the onboarding board. And one other view I'd like to show you, I'm going to go over to the renewals board And we're going to click into one of these. And you're going to see how we're using our item cards in Monday.com. Okay. So when you click into an item, this is called an item card. And we're really setting up your item card as if it was an SOP or your work instructions to do the job. Okay. So you go through here and you set up what steps you would do on each one of these workflow boards and make it really easy for your staff to have something to just follow to do the job. Okay. So
Rob,
now go ahead.
this is all fantastic. I'm sure a lot of people that are watching or have the question over their head. This is great, and obviously it's very built out.
Yes.
Is it customized for me? And I know the answer is yes. It wraps around your
Yeah.
process, but I just want to call that out because you're sharing something that is so deep and fully functioning, like a well-oiled machine. And I just want to
Yes.
share over with those that are watching that this is an example that is adapted to a specific company's process, right? So when you
Yeah,
talk about the
absolutely.
SOPs, right? Like if you could speak a little bit about the customizations and the
Yeah.
vision beyond just an example, a locked example, but something that's really customized.
Yeah. Okay, so for example, depending in property management, depending on what your portfolio is broken down to, you may own all of your properties in your portfolio, or you might have a portfolio of a lot of owners with a single units, or maybe you have large portfolios of owners, like
Hmm.
it's endless, the complexity and the flexibility that you need. One example of a step that we usually consult someone on and take in or out is the owner renewal notification. I want to know how we are communicating with our owners. Are we letting the owners know that we're getting ready to renew? And you're just saying, hey, we're going to renew. This is what we're going to renew it at. You have 7 days to let us know. Otherwise, we're going to move forward. Or are you running approvals through your owners? Right? And you actually need decisions that are being made. We have things like reactive emails, which is more of an advanced feature that we could set up where owners can actually click buttons and choose yes or no, I want to renew, and
Wow.
actually update your Monday board with that. And then if they're all your own properties, you don't even need ask the owners,
Right.
right? And so in those examples, you can edit your email template up here in your Monday automations. And like for the tenant renewal or the owner one, you can actually modify your email templates in here to work for what your policy is. And so you would edit those templates, and then I would also go into here and you can move around these steps. You can either, if you're doing things in different orders, you can move them in different orders. You can delete them if you don't need this step at all, or you can create new steps by adding a widget here and an information box, and we can actually pull in different columns off of the board to make a specific step. And then I can just name that here, and I can say step 8, review payment history, right?
Amazing.
And so I can move this around, and that's kind of how I set up my SOP for my company.
It's amazing. I didn't mean to derail you. I just want to bring out like what we're looking at here is so dynamic and so catered to the needs of a specific company. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that this is not locked, right? It really is. Tell us your
Absolutely.
process and we'll deliver. I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
we're giving you the scaffolding or the
right.
framework to build upon, and we'll even give you some email templates and best practices. But then from there, you can choose to take what you need, what gives you value, and take away what doesn't, and add the steps you need as well.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go back over here. I want to talk about a couple different workflows and where we found value across this. So the first one, a very important board is the onboarding process, right? And when we set up any type of system, I want you to start thinking about what is my data plan? Everybody has a data plan in any type of business. You have information and notes and documents that you need, especially in property management, on each one of your units. So in the onboarding process in Monday.com, you can use a Monday work form for those incoming properties. And we actually provide a templated one for you to start with. And you can organize all your notes and files in one place with this. And this information actually transfers over to those database boards. So you have that unit specific information. And then one thing that's really cool about Monday is their mirror columns. So with the mirror columns, we can actually mirror these notes that live on our units into our specific workflows. So now your staff is not switching between screens or spreadsheets or Buildium and your email client. It's all done in one place and the information is at a glance for you. Right. And then we also just kind of showed the renewals board as well. It's one of our favorite boards to implement. And if you were to implement a workspace like this, I would recommend starting with something like the renewals. It's really nice. You can get a lot of savings very quickly if you start with something like the renewals, getting those owner and tenant renewal notifications in there. And there's a lot of opportunity for integrating document signing and a lot more advanced things that we could go over in another time. And then also our delinquencies process. So pulling over those lease balances into your leases board has been a game changer for us. And we're able to actually split up, it's a view inside your leases board, and actually split up your leases by who owes me money, which is so important. And so I know there are some automated follow-ups that you can use in Buildium today. Now, once you plug in Monday on top of that, there's virtually no limit to that. And you can set up automated emails and SMS that go out on specific days of the week, or when someone's total balance goes over X, or if someone's, so many days late. And we like to use some of these other columns to prioritize when's the next touch point that I have with these tenants on the money that's owed. And you have a nice notes column to put that information in there as well. All right. So yeah, now we have the Q&A section here.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a few questions that have been kind of submitted here that I'd love to get your thoughts on. Rob, I mean, there's so many different ways that we could go. In preparing for this session, right, we discussed we could talk literally for an hour or more
Yeah,
and not touch on everything. So you've given us a taste. It's very exciting. There's some defining questions that have come in. But I just want to really give over that message that you shared here earlier about when would somebody make a switch over into bringing Buildium into Monday? What have you kind of consistently seen as the metric or the moment where somebody says, I just can't do this all inside of Buildium. I need more controls and more options. That's my question before we get into the Q&A.
absolutely. So I would recommend starting to implement something like this around, 100 to 150 doors. Basically, when you need to start hiring more staff
Ah,
members.
good point. Okay.
I've seen it time and time again, especially implementing with different PMs from all different sizes, is if you get your system right first before you scale, your scalability is going to be so much easier. There's going to be so much less change management, and you're going to actually be building a team around efficient process instead of trying to change process for an existing team later. So I love to work with property managers, 100, 150 doors to get them out of the gate and really put them in something that they can scale.
That's fantastic. It's always important to know like that right metric, and I think that you're really also talking a little bit about the time, effort, headaches that are saved by bringing this in and
Oh,
having
yeah.
this integration working and the way that you've shared it. But also like in real world terms, right? We talk about an ROI for
Yeah,
anything that we do in life, right? So we're talking
absolutely.
about, less staff time, more transparency, faster to action.
Hmm.
Anything else you would want to add in there?
Yeah, so the time savings at 1,000 doors plus it's pretty incredible. We've worked with property managers, for example, on a move-in process
Mhm.
where the property managers are able to manage 4 times more move-ins
Ah,
just by implementing our Monday board than they were before. And so The team loves it. Everybody's happy. They're not working the weekends as much,
Right.
and there's some significant time savings there. And I
That's
think
a
there's also
great
a lot. Yeah,
that's a
and
great metric. I just had to say, like that's
mhm.
really impressive.
Yeah, there's also a lot of time savings in just the job becoming easier to do. We've seen a lot of property management companies that have been able to implement workflows for virtual assistants that they
Ah,
used to need a lot of help. There are a lot of technicalities around those workflows, and now they're able to, plug in the process, even overseas in different places to get the work done.
that's cool. I didn't even think about that. Great point. All right, now
Mhm.
let's go to the real question. So,
Okay, cool. Is there a
right.
two-way sync between my Buildium and Monday.com accounts? Yes, absolutely. So there is so many two-way sync opportunities. And for example, in these workspaces, we actually have a PMA board where once the PMA is signed, it actually creates all of the properties and units and owners in Buildium for you. For example, there's also the move-in board. The move-in board, you can actually create new leases in Buildium from that board and even add in the billing and automate the billing on top of that as well. So those charges being added to the lease. Same with renewals. In the renewals board, there's actually a button you can implement that'll just create the lease renewal for you, upload that signed lease renewal into Buildium as well. So across the board, one thing I will say though is sometimes when people think about systems and they think about two-way syncs, they think, well, I have this database board here and I have this database board here. And if I update something in this column, it should update over there. That's not how we think about it because Buildium is the system of record at the end of the day. And so the sync is almost actually like a loop. We only want to change a lease end date through something like a renewals or a move out process. When we're either moving out tenants, or maybe somebody called and said, hey, I'm ending my lease early and it hits a move out board, or through the renewal process itself when we're extending that lease end date. So
Very cool.
it's all process driven, which is all the more reason why to implement the workspace template that we have because those two-way syncs are plug and play and we could sit down with you and actually turn those on.
Yeah, and that last sentence that you shared there, it really is the consultative approach to help bring a business in its current SOPs, the current way that they operate into,
Yeah,
a kind of a buzzword, right? A future state, right? Like really identifying where you're at right now, working with you in that consultative manner, putting it in a Monday and Buildium terms, but also ending up with something that actually is more than the individual sum of its parts.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of blueprints. We've had a lot of knowledge that we've gained through working with all the property
Oh yeah.
managers that we have, and it just seems like our systems are constantly improving. So, uh, it's a community of property managers that have built this system out. This wasn't me sitting in a closet somewhere deciding what you needed. We did this iteratively over time, and everybody's kind of passed the torch just a little bit
Right.
further than us. So,
Awesome. That's a great call out.
all
All right,
right,
let's
let's
see
see.
what's next.
What about maintenance and work orders? Awesome. This is a really good question. So we do have a maintenance and work orders, and resident request board, and we have those templates for Monday.com. We'll do another series just on that because I really want to get into the weeds and show how beneficial it is. But work orders are just as important as everything else that we've shown you on this. And so having a tool that will be able to do work orders and the full property management life cycle in one place is what is so nice about Monday. I will say that we've built it on a few different Monday packages, and I really like the Monday service package for it. So we'll have to cover that more on another time.
Yeah, fantastic.
Is there a shared inbox? Well, Yes, absolutely. So something that's very a common question that comes up in property management is, especially when you're looking at different software, is like, what about the shared inbox? I need a shared inbox. And what we're getting at there is centralized communication, right? I want to see what everybody's working on as a team or as a department, even if I'm in pods, if I'm in a pod structure business. But if somebody is out or if somebody leaves the company, somebody needs to pick up where they left off, right? And a shared inbox is the centralization of that communication. And all the more reason why we've been looking and working on the Monday service product for that because of the emails and activities that are in there, as well as some of the other features that we're able to do with SMS.
And that's a great point, right? So many businesses, certainly within the property management side, the details are endless, and
Yeah.
the opportunity for something to get missed or fall through the cracks, especially when we're talking about employee turnover and so on, it's just so huge. So to be able to identify that and transition somebody else in to continue along whatever, renewal or whatever it might be, the piece that I hear over and over again from Monday users is this single source of truth allows us to operate properly, right? It allows us to
Yeah.
be proactive instead of so reactive. So
Yeah.
great call out on that question there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited to show what we found with the shared inbox capabilities in Monday and how to best utilize it for
Hmm,
property management.
great. Great. So I think we're on to our favorite piece here, which is our bonus tip. So,
Okay, cool.
Rob, this is all you.
Well, from the other questions we have, this will be a nice, fun bonus tip here. And the bonus tip is check out Monday service. So here is a screenshot that we have of one of our boards. This is actually a work orders board that's working on top of Monday service. And you can see here that we have the emails and activities, and we're calling emails and notes, but that is the native emails and activities that lives in Monday.com. And you can see some information like SLA information's coming over, which is really nice. That comes out of the box from Monday. We're making a couple modifications there, but seeing how they've kind of set that up for the service level agreements has been really cool to implement for property management. One thing I do want to make a note of here is over on the right-hand side, the send SMS here. So this is actually an advanced feature that you can implement in Monday.com where you're basically that if somebody calls in from a phone or you have the phone numbers for somebody on a lease or an owner, that phone number column can actually be sent an SMS to. And the way we're doing that is we have a text field where you write in that message and you can just click and send.
It's
And
so
it,
cool.
yeah, it's gonna track incoming and outgoing SMS as well as files. So you can actually share images and receive images through SMS here. So all of those reasons are reasons why I like Monday Service. Monday Service allows you to connect one of your company's email addresses directly into a Monday board. So, for example, since we're talking maintenance, you could use a maintenance at email, put it on a board, and call it a maintenance request or work orders. And any incoming email that comes in will create a new ticket for you.
Wow. So faster to service, faster to having an understanding of where trends are as far as properties and their
Mhm.
repair history. Also, when we actually created a webinar on this not so long ago, really talking about the asset management also of
Yeah.
your properties, roofs, fences, pools, and so on. So,
Mhm.
it's amazing to see with this Buildium integration that we've been discussing here and all the tools of Monday Service and Monday Work Management and Monday CRM, you have this entire environment where, as I said a moment ago, you're able to be very proactive, even when there's a repair issue, right? You're not going to be caught flat-footed. You'll be able to address it in a timely manner. And of course, that only helps with property value, retention, renewal. Like, it's a cycle that just feeds upon itself. So Rob,
Yes.
thank you so much. You've given us just kind of a taste of everything that's in there. I know we can go much deeper, and perhaps we'll have some of those sessions that you were mentioning here, just talking about, kind of geeking out a little bit and getting into the weeds with it. So
Yeah.
I want to
Let's do
thank
it. Let's do
you.
another. Let's do
Yes,
another.
absolutely. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Wes, both at LaunchEngine for joining us. Up on the screen is my contact information. Any questions that you might have about the Buildium integration, Monday CRM, Monday service, Monday work management, and how it all kind of ties together to make your operation stronger, please contact me. Happy to answer any questions you have. And again, Rob and Wes, thank you so much for joining today's session.